Hi there, everybody. Happy New Year. It's Marc Laurenson here. Happy 2021. And we're going to be looking at the sky for January of 21. But before we do, I'm just going to do a quick reminder for a lot of people who might be interested in joining our Sydney Astrology School course. Now, level 1 begins in February, beginning of February, and the enrollments have just started. And we have a flash sale happening for the first week of enrollments. It finishes on the 5th of January. It'll be the 4th of January for people who live in the Americas and Europe. And so if you are really interested in astrology and joining the course, I'm the main teacher at the Sydney Astrology School course. Just go to our website, www.sydneyastrologyschool, that's Sydney, S-Y-D-N-E-Y, sydneyastrologyschool.com, and all the information for joining up for level 1 is there. Okay, so let's get stuck into January's webinar. But before I do, I just want to take a last look at 2020. And the reason I want to do that is because so many people are looking at 2020 as a year that they just want to kind of throw into the trash. They just want it to be over with. They don't want to look at it anymore. It was one of those years that was classified as bad, a bad year, and let's get it over with and let's move on. Now, it was challenging. It was, as far as I know and as I recollect, there's never been a year like it in my lifetime, and I'm sure even in people who are slightly older than me, their lifetimes as well. We've never had to face anything like what we've had to face in 2020. Now, a lot of us as astrologers were kind of clued up a little bit with 2020 being an eventful year. A lot of people thought it was going to be quite dramatic in a way because of the stellium of Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto all bunched up at the end of Capricorn for most of the year. So we knew there was going to be some major shifts happening throughout 2020, but we didn't quite realize that it was going to take the effect it did. So I want to actually start looking at 2020 in a completely different way. I don't want to fall into the category or put 2020 into that it was a bad year or a year that we want to forget basket, because everything in life, particularly in astrology, we have to look at everything, even the most challenging and the most difficult parts of our lives. We have to look on it as, what did we get out of it? What did we learn from it? Was there anything in that particular experience that we can take forward in a meaningful and purposeful way? And so I want to go down that road, because it doesn't do us any good. It doesn't help us at all if we just look on a particular time and become the victims of a particular time. There is a feeling of 2020 on the level of what we had to go through and what we had to experience. There was a reason behind it. There was a cosmic reason behind it. And for everybody, it would have been very, very different for everyone individually. But collectively, there's a huge story around this collectively for all of us to take forward. Now, I'm not going to go into that in a deep way. Maybe one day I will do a webinar just on that particular subject. But I just want everyone to realize that 2021, especially what's happening in January and February of 2021, is kind of like a spin-off or a new path to take that was created by 2020. And so if you can look at 2020 and look at what you experienced in 2020, and if you can look at what you got out of it in a meaningful or purposeful or positive way, maybe because you experienced lockdown or because you didn't see family and friends for any length of time, did that trigger something in you on the level of gratitude or on the level of not taking anything for granted anymore? You know, that kind of thing. Was there a need for you to be open, to be more kind, with actually seeing people going through a much harder time than you during this? It could be anything. It could be anything in you where you need to be able to be conscious of being able to take something forward that 2020 supplied for you that worked for you. You know what I mean? That you can see that you were changed by what happened. And that change can actually springboard you into 21 and beyond. It's so important for everybody to look at 2020 that way. Otherwise, it can be a year that you just want to write off, you know. And there's nothing more dismal. You know, that's the only word that I can think of. There's nothing more dismal in life than putting experiences into that basket. It really is. Everything has to have some form of benefit for us to take forward, no matter how difficult it might have been to experience. Okay, so let's look at January of 21. Now, there's a lot of activity happening at the beginning of the year. A big one that doesn't actually start until next month, and I'll spend a bit of time talking about that in next month's webinar, is Saturn coming into square with Uranus, and that's going to be on and off for most of the year. That's a big one in itself, and I can really see it spinning off from the 2020 experiences. But the ones I want to talk about mostly are to do with Mars. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put the chart up so you can actually see the chart and the movement of the planets as they're happening. Here we go. So here's the chart for the 1st of January 2021. Now it's at 12 midday. This is Sydney time. And so if you're in the Americas and Europe, you might have to look at the day before as I'm going through this. Now, over here, you can actually see Saturn and Jupiter have just moved into Aquarius, as we know, happened just before Christmas, happened on the solstice day there. But what I'm concentrating on is Mars down here. Mars at the moment is at 27 of Aries. Now, it's been in Aries since June, as most of you know. It went through that long retrograde period, still in Aries. Now, it's about to change sign, everybody. It's about to move into Taurus, and it's about to make some, make a bit of, make a gain on Uranus, as you can see there. So that's going to be really, really important. That's going to be a very, very strong energy. Mars and Uranus in Taurus. Not only is it going to come into that conjunction, but look what it's also doing. It's going to be making squares as it moves into early Taurus with Saturn Jupiter. That's also going to be happening, and that's what I'm going to be spending some time on, because that the effect of Mars changing sign from Aries to Taurus, especially being in Aries for so long, is going to be palatable in itself. Palpable. Or palatable, I suppose, for Taurus. Taurus likes to eat. But palpable in itself. The square energy will add that extra little bit of oomph or push involved, and of course as it makes its way up to Uranus, that is what you will all feel quite strongly this particular month. It's going to be quite a powerful energy in itself. So I'm going to shift the Mars around by 1 day and watch it change into the next sign, and then watch it make its way up to Uranus and go into the squares, okay? So here we go. So there's the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th. Okay, there we go. Everyone see how Mars has now changed into Taurus? This is the 7th of January here in Australia. It would be the 6th in other parts of the world. Now, on that particular day, the shift is going to be very, very strong. Now, also, it's making a square coming up to square Saturn. How do we know that it's squaring just by looking at a chart without any aspect lines? We know planets are squaring by the mode that they're in, everybody. Now, this is a lesson in itself. All squares and oppositions are the same mode. So here we have Mars going into Taurus, which is fixed. So it's going to be squaring and opposing the other fixed signs in the early degrees at the moment. So Scorpio is going to be opposite, of course. And then we're going to have Leo and Aquarius, early degrees of Leo and Aquarius as the squares. Nothing in Leo, but we do have 2 planets in early Aquarius. So there's Uranus squaring Saturn, and then it's going to start to make its way into the square to Jupiter as it gets further up to Uranus. So I'll take it on. So here we go. It's the 8th now. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, coming into a strong square with Saturn there on the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. Well, look at that. Look at that on the 14th, which will be the 13th in other parts of the world. The moon gets involved as well. It's also, Mercury is also a part of it too. So I'll just take it back to the 13th. As Mercury crosses. So here we have Mercury in the picture between the 10th, 11th, and 12th. Even the 13th, Mercury comes into the picture for a while. Then we have the moon, the new moon in Capricorn, and then the moon gets into the picture in the 14th. So between, say, the 13th, about the 10th or 9th, 10th, up until the 14th, there's a big stellium going on in Aquarius. There's the Mercury and the moon getting involved as well, also squaring Mars and Uranus. So that period of time is going to be quite, I would say, quite a strong energy that I will be talking about in a minute. Okay, so let's have a look at Mars now starting to close in on Uranus. Okay, so here's the 19th and here's the 20th. So at the 20th, which will be the 19th in other parts of the world, Uranus and Mars are conjunct. Okay. Here's the moon coming into the picture on the 21st and the 22nd. and there's Mars overtaking Uranus, and Mars is going past, still coming into making aspects with Jupiter, still making a square with Jupiter, and also the Sun gets into the picture here as well in the square too. And so here we are at the very end of the month. There's the 31st, and here we have Mars squaring the Sun and Jupiter at the very end of the month as well. Interesting actually seeing it like that, isn't it? Seeing it in motion. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what that means for this particular month. I want to start with Mars changing sign. Now, Mars has been in Aries, as I said, since June, but Mars and Uranus have been coming into conjunction with each other roughly every 2 years. And they've been doing it in Aries since 2011, okay? So from 2011, every 2 years since 2011, Mars and Uranus have been coming into conjunction in Aries. So this is the first time in 10 years that Mars and Uranus are actually coming into conjunction in a new sign. And so we're talking about Taurus, everybody. So what's happening here, the Mars in Aries energy, which has been, I want to say, rather volatile. Have you been looking at 2020? Isn't it interesting how we've all been pulled away from each other? Lots of people have been really, really angry. And this is the Mars in Aries energy. A lot of people aren't liking being told what to do. This is the Mars in Aries energy. It's a difficult energy when we're put in positions where we are being restricted, or where we're being limited, or we're being lorded over. Mars in Aries is a difficult energy for us to work with in those situations, because Mars in Aries is definitely about our need to get our desires met, our wants met. This is Mars in Aries. And so you can see in 2020 how difficult that was for most people. You would have had to find ways in your own way of being able to give the Mars in Aries energy an outlet somewhere along the line. Now it was retrograde for quite a while, and so most people at home, as long as they could keep busy at home, so to speak, or at least get their needs met at home in some kind of way, that would have been a way for it to express an outlet. But for most people, that didn't happen quite that way. And so you can see how the Mars in Aries energy for most of us went down that road. See, the Black Lives Matter came in as part of the Mars in Aries. A lot of anger around the way minorities are treated. That comes up again. See, there was an outlet there for the Mars in Aries energy. I believe it was a good outlet, I believe. But again, there was a lot of people who were angry for the sake of being angry, as well along that time. So Mars is now moving into Taurus. Now, Taurus slows things down. Taurus consolidates things. Taurus is the energy that conserves. Taurus is more of a persevering energy, more of an enduring energy. It takes its time. Taurus takes its time. So Taurus is more of like a stabilizing energy for Mars in some kind of way. But Taurus is still a strong sign, everybody. Taurus still has that need to hold on to something. Taurus is about needing to feel safe and secure. And Taurus is very much about ownership. And so when you get the Mars and the Taurus energy together, you get a feeling of something that's kind of digging its heels in now. You know, a lot of people talk about the Tauran stubbornness. You know, that's a cliche, isn't it? But there's that feeling of us needing in our own way to be able to ground this energy in some way and be able to feel strong with it. I get the feeling of like the bulldozer. You know, when I think of Mars in Taurus, you know, the bulldozer, which is the power and the strength and the bravery, you know, that comes with the Mars energy. And you can see the bulldozing energy of pulling up the earth in a slow way, but still with that strength, still with that stamina and that endurance that comes with the Taurus energy. So there's a bulldozing energy that's starting to happen within us all. And I feel that we need this energy now. I feel that we need this energy because there's a part of us that is coming into what you would call, even though we're still experiencing COVID and we're still experiencing the aftermath of a lot of 2020, not even the aftermath, we're still kind of in it, aren't we? But, you know, there's a feeling of us needing to be able to plow through something. You know, it feels like the plowing through energy of being able, it's like a thrusting energy in us, or to pull us up and to pull us out of something. That's the feeling I'm getting from this. And so Mars in Taurus is that feeling of that inner strength that we need, that deeper kind of the more entrenched energy that needs to be pulled up and out. It's like pulling something out from the root system. You know, that feeling of being pulled up from the root system and to be able to be put into a brand new way of being. And when I say a brand new way of being, I'm not just talking about the change of sign here. Can you see that the planet that it's moving up to? It's moving up to Uranus. And as soon as it moves into Taurus, which was on the 7th, on the 6th for people in other parts of the world, you will start to feel the Uranian energy happening already. And the Uranian energy in us is about us needing to go through some kind of radical change. Now, this is really interesting because we're talking about Mars and Uranus, and a lot of people who know a little bit about astrology will immediately go, uh-oh, this is not a great combination, Mars and Uranus, because, you know, it has got in cliched astrology, Mars-Uranus has got a very kind of tumultuous, unpredictable kind of energy. But I want to kind of put a stopper on that one, and I want to actually talk about it in a way where we can use it positively and productively, because that's what astrology is all about, everyone. We're not victims of our charts. We're not victims of the sky. We're not victims of the planets. We have choice around how we're going to play everything. You can make any transit into something really special, or you can make any transit into something that's going to be difficult. That's your choice. Some transits are challenging. Some transits are challenging. Welcome to the world. Welcome to life, you know. Welcome to being human. Some transits are challenging, but we still have a choice. Are we going to step up to the plate, or are we going to run in the other direction, or resist, or be scared, or just don't do anything about it? You know, what are we going to do? It's up to us. You know, the ball is in our court. We are in the driver's seat of all of the stuff that's going on in the sky. So here, when I was saying that the Mars and Uranus energy in us makes us feel a little bit like, makes us feel like, anything can happen. Could be like a bolt of lightning from the blue kind of thing, something unpredictable or something kind of radical can happen, Well, I want to say, if you're going to put this energy into your life in a way where you feel that this is going to work for you and you want it to work for you, that could actually be quite good. That energy that I just said could actually be quite good. Something different, something unpredictable, a bolt of lightning from the blue, all that kind of stuff. That could actually be quite good. It could actually be that part of you that awakens you. It could actually be that part of you that gets you to sit up and take notice. It could actually be that part of you that actually goes, I get it, I see it. And there's something about the Mars and Uranus energy that's a little bit like a firecracker. It's ready to go off. And so it's about you being able to put this energy and to harness this energy, because it's Taurus. Taurus is about harnessing it. Taurus is about putting it into some kind of workable form or concrete form. And so if you can harness this energy and if you can put it into a direction where you feel it's going to work for you and be productive, this month could actually be a really, really positive, change-worthy month for you, based on starting something new, which is Mars, based on starting something completely new and completely different. That could be quite radical. When I say radical, I mean that in a positive way. That could actually take you way outside your comfort zone, or get you started into something that's very different or very unusual. And you can actually start to feel that your life is being propelled in a brand new way for brand new reasons on a brand new level that can actually have some kind of momentum that will take you further down the track this year into a brand new areas of life. Now, when Uranus comes into square with Saturn for the rest of the year, which I'm going to be talking about in our next webinar, you'll really get the feeling of where it can actually start to take you. Now, as I said, this is about springboarding off 2020. So the changes that I'm talking about that you take from 2020, rather than actually just thinking of 2020 as a bloody bad year that you want to forget, if you want to look at 2020 and be able to take something from it that's purposeful and meaningful, and then be able to make the changes necessary, and then be able to set your sights on something new and something different and something exciting, then that feeling of what 2020 was all about, and taking the experiences from 2020 that you can learn from, 2020 could actually be a springboard in a way for what 2021 can actually offer you, on the level of you making something happen for yourself. As I said, it's all about choice, about you making something happen for yourself in a way of being able, maybe opening a brand new path for yourself. So think of it like that, everybody. Think of it in a way where 2021 is going to be one of those years for you that's probably going to take you to another level of who you are. Very exciting when you think about it like that. So let's talk about the square to Jupiter. Now I'm just gonna stay with Jupiter because, as I said, I'm going to talk more about Uranus and Saturn in the next webinar. But the square to Jupiter, when I see planets in square to Jupiter, particularly a planet like Mars in square to Jupiter, I always feel that there's a thing around confidence. You know, it's like I often call it a crisis in confidence, because Jupiter is about the part of us that really wants to go for something. You know, Jupiter is big and expansive, and Jupiter has faith in the way life works and has faith in you, and there's a belief around things working out in a way that feels beneficial, that feels positive. That's all Jupiter stuff. And so when planets come into square with Jupiter, there's this kind of friction between what you want and who you are and the confidence or the belief in the situation. So maybe doubts come up here. Maybe there could be areas of worry, or there could be areas where you don't have the confidence that you need. You know, that kind of thing could rise its head. Sometimes it goes the other way. You know, sometimes there's this kind of almost like this fake confidence or this bravado that comes over you. But often that will lead to what I would call silly mistakes. So you have to be very, very careful of that. You know, that feeling, you know, of I can do that, and jump into the deep end when you can't swim. You know what I mean? That kind of feeling. So what I want to say with Jupiter is for you to actually start to look in areas where you want to go. We're talking Mars and Uranus, new areas, when I say taking chances, I'm not talking about stupid ones. You know, you all know the difference between that. I'm talking about just stuff that you might have been putting off, stuff that you might be procrastinating with, stuff that you've always wanted to do but never got around to. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about stepping out into those particular areas. And the Jupiter has that feeling of you can do it. The Jupiter has that feeling of go for it. You know, and the challenge is you feeling that you want to pull back. But the whole idea is here, you're going to actually have to pluck up enough courage, or pluck up enough faith, or pluck up enough bravery, or whatever you want to call it, or confidence in the fact that this particular energy is trying to take you down a new road or down a new path, and that you will need to, in some kind of way, be able to feel safe within yourself. This is Taurus, you know, safe and secure within yourself, to be able to put one step in front of the other and be able to start to walk a brand new and quite exciting path. Jupiter always has that feeling of needing to learn something. Jupiter always wants some kind of meaning in life as well. You know, it's always wanting to learn through experience. So the experiences you're having in January, please, I want to actually really, really reinforce the fact that you are in the driver's seat of these choices, and for you to actually feel the energy, you know, the Uranus and the Mars energy inside of you. It is an electric energy. It's very frustrating when it's held back. You know, if you're sitting on it, if you're not allowing it, to express itself in a positive way, this is when the firecrackers go off in the bag. You know what I mean? There's a feeling of this indirect kind of energy and possibly anger and frustration going out to the wrong people and the wrong situations for all the wrong reasons. So therefore you have to be in control of it. You have to be Taurus. You have to be on top of it. You have to be owning it. You have to feel on a certain level like it's within your grasp. And you need to be able to hone it. You need to be able to look after it. You need to be able to put it into an area of your life where you can actually see where it wants to go. Uranus is all about the future, everybody. Uranus is always looking towards where things need to go on an evolutionary level. It's taking us up tiers of our lives. It's taking us up to the next level all the time. That's why a lot of us don't like it very much, because the Uranian energy always takes us outside of our comfort zones. This is really interesting being in Taurus, because Taurus likes to be comfortable. So here we have to find areas or ways where we can put the parts of us that need to be here on the earth plane and need to feel secure and need to actually work in the tangible and the material, but at the same time we need to be able to look forward in a way of where we can take it. And so there's a feeling of us needing in our own way, as I keep on saying, to be brave and to be courageous and to feel confident and to put one foot in front of the other and start to feel like I can do it. I can do it. I really can. You know, this is what Jupiter is constantly saying. Have a faith in life. Have a belief in yourself. This is so important. Jupiter rides off our beliefs. And we all know, well, not all of us know, but a lot of us know that, you know, our beliefs create our lives. Not our thoughts so much. You know how everyone talks about our thoughts create our lives? Well, to a certain extent, but it's our beliefs that create our lives. What you believe in. If you believe you can do it, or if you believe you can't do it, that's going to create your life. It's your belief. And so as it squares, as Mars is coming into square with Jupiter and Uranus, you know, Mars-Uranus coming into square with Jupiter, your belief in life and your belief in yourself will be under scrutiny. You know, that feeling of I need to, as I said earlier on, I need to pluck up the courage, even if I don't really feel it. Remember that book from years ago called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway? It's a little bit like that. Truly is. So that is the main thrust for January of 2021. So, as I said earlier on, this is a real positive start to the year. I feel that the Mars-Uranus energy, Mars moving into Taurus, Uranus energy coming into square with Saturn and Jupiter, is a great way to begin the year because it feels like it's almost like a New Year's resolution to me, especially the Mars-Uranus. You know, that feeling of I'm going to be brave enough to create the life that I want to live, and I'm going to be brave enough to stretch outside of my boundaries. I'm going to be brave enough to be able to come up with new ideas and to reinvent and to be innovative and to actually see my life as an evolutionary progression towards what I want to be and who I want to become. I think that's really, really important for January. So if you can keep your mind in that area, if you can actually see this as a springboard to the rest of the year, then 2021, I have a feeling, will be one of those really special years for you.